right, what is going on? Cowbell Madness. Let's talk about what we got going on in this group. There are really three parts. We're going to break it down a few different ways, all right? First and foremost, let's talk about the cowbell. This is really cool because this is actually the very first cowbell I ever got. This is a small LP cowbell. I got this, not 20, 30 years ago, sorry. 30 years ago in 1990. I started drumming in 89, got this in 1990. This was a gift from my dad. He told me that you can't play any classic rock specifically. I can't be playing the Rolling Stones Honky Tonk Women without a cowbell, so he got me for that. And we used to jam out and play a bunch of stuff. My dad's a guitarist, and this was kind of a gift from him. So it's really cool that we're doing some Cowbell Madness beats, and we're going to use that for it. All right, so let's talk about that cowbell pattern. It's pretty straightforward. You're just going to play 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that's going to be continuous through the whole thing. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, so that's really important, obviously, right? But that drives the whole thing. If you kind of hear what's going on, and I'm not playing a really fast tempo, I'm not playing a slow tempo, but that's kind of the pulse that's going through that, all right? Then we're going to add in the kick and the snare. Now, the kick and the snare, the first half of this is pretty straightforward and pretty basic, right? The bass drum's going to be played on 1. The snare is going to be played on 2, followed by the bass drum again on and. So 1, 2, and 1, 2, and. And that's going to follow the 1, 2 on the cowbell. So your cowbell is going to follow your bass drum on 1, your snare drum on 2, and then the and on the bass drum will come after it. 1, 2, and 1, 2, and 1, 2, and. All right, so pretty straightforward. Let's dive into the second half of this. I like the second half of this because this kind of designed around a flam tap. For those of you who don't know what a flam tap is, or rather even simpler, a flam, let's talk about that, right? I've got 2 strokes going on up here. This is my right hand up higher, my left hand is lower. These are going to come down at about the same time. Obviously, because this is lower, they could slightly first contact. And we call that a grace note, right? There's no necessarily defined moment, but we kind of have this little offset 2-note stroke. Okay? Now, in a flam tap, I play that flam, and that low note that started off high is going to get the second stroke. So my right hand gets the harder stroke and then follows it up with another stroke. Up here, my left hand, when I switch, same thing. Plays that higher stroke. I know I'm getting this low hand hit first, followed up. So those are flam taps. What we're going to do is we're going to modify that a little bit. Both of the notes are actually going to hit at the same time. So same height, followed by that same stroke after. All right, that's really useful, and you can kind of try that in different scenarios. But for here, very specifically, I'm playing 3 and 4 and using that idea. 3 and 4, all right? So that's that part right there. All I'm going to do now is add the bass drum component into it, all right? So what happens with the bass drum component is it simply plays at the very end. It's going to play in the and after 4. So I've got my 3 and, I got my 4 and, right there at that end, the snare drum with my left hand and the bass drum are going to line it up. 3 and 4 and that's it. So I start this 1, 2 and, where there's an extra little bass drum hit after the 2 on the and then it finishes off again on the and on the end of this. So your bass drum pattern underneath all this is 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and, right, okay? So it flows through that. So I've got this and on the kick, all right? So anyway, so let's put this all together real quick. So I've got this piece at the beginning, the 1, 2, and, okay, and then I've got this flame tap feel, 3 and 4, and 1, 2, and 3 and 4. And that's it. So kind of work your way through it. It's really fun. I'll break it down real quick now, just each individual piece. So your cowbell is going to play 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Your bass drum is going to play on the 1, and then it's going to play on the and after 2 and after 4. 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, and then your snare drum is going to play on the 2, then it's going to play on the 3, and then it's going to play on the 4 and. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and. All right, now let's just put it all together again. 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4. What's really cool about this too is you can play this on different things, not just the cowbell. I can play it on the bell of the ride. Play it on the hi-hat. And then I can move it all around, right? So just have fun with it, try it out, but obviously Cowbell Madness, focus on the cowbell. All right, Cowbell Madness. I'll see you next time.